Hello, everybody. We haven't met. My name's Jesse McCullough, pharmacist, hopefully like you, right? And wanted to take just a few minutes. Actually, it's going to be more than a few minutes. Probably going to be better part of 45 minutes or so. Um, just to share some thoughts with you. I've been greatly troubled by just some of the recent news going around, specifically in the community pharmacy space. My background in community pharmacy, having worked at Rite Aid for over a decade, and just seeing some of the challenges that are going on there, and in following up with some of my colleagues that are still there, and just understand where they are, where their mindset is, how they're approaching things, and just all the other things that go on in community pharmacy. Seeing other chains talking about closing stores, obviously the independents that are so greatly burdened. And I've lost sleep over this over the last few days, and so I thought maybe, just maybe, if I took some time and put some thoughts down on paper and maybe put this out, maybe there's some solution that exists. So that's kind of where I come from on this. It is no secret, and it's been this way for as long as I've been in pharmacy, and that goes back into the 90s. The conversation about reimbursement and declining rates and all those different contractual things, which I'm sure there are many other people who are much better versed in those elements. And yet, what I still see happening in the marketplace is that people get confused about revenues. I see people who get confused and they say, "Oh, that we have this amount of revenue, so that must turn into." That there's some conspiracy around how that revenue is not turning into support staff or infrastructure improvement or whatever it turns out to be within the organization, and there's been an obvious deficit in the difference between revenue and profitability. Right. I just saw a post on LinkedIn. Somebody shared it in the last, probably within the last 48 hours, that was talking about how, within the world of pharmacy, prescription counts are up, revenue is up, but profitability is like way, way, way down. I attended a symposium a few months ago, and one of my colleagues there was talking, made some comment to the effect of about 60% of the prescriptions that he filled were being filled at a loss. And those are stories that we've heard. We've heard those, and those stories are growing in prevalence and they're growing in impact all around us. And I thought perhaps it may be helpful just to share a couple of things that I've learned over the years, because these are ideas that were not formally taught to me in pharmacy school. These are things that I had to go outside of the world of pharmacy to learn about, and I hope you've already learned them. This may be old news for you right now, but when we start talking about revenue, we start talking about profitability. Something else that we have to talk about is we have to talk about value. What is value? And the lesson that I learned is that money is something that is created when somebody does something of value for someone else, right? So I want you maybe you haven't thought of that before, maybe you initially reject it. I'm going to at least ask that you consider it right now, that money is created when one person does something of value for someone else. Now, I'm a farm kid who became a pharmacist, okay? So on the farm, you can have the farmer that has the cow and can bring the milk to the table, right? You have the farmer that has the pigs. You have the farmer that has the chickens. And when the farmer if you got these groups of farmers together, what can they do? They can provide value to one another, and they can swap eggs or bacon or milk, and all of a sudden you can have a full meal, right? Um, money is created when one person does something of value for someone else. And perhaps the idea that you were have been introduced to is that civilization began on some type of barter system, and maybe it did. If it did, I don't know that it lasted very long. At some point you had to have some intermediary form of value store to be able to do that, because the farmer that makes all the milk, they at some point they don't need any more eggs, they don't need any more bacon. What they need is they need clothes, right? And so somehow these things work out. And so money is created when somebody does something of value for someone else. And I think that's a very important thing for us to consider in pharmacy, is what is the value that we are providing to someone else? Is it does it end at filling a prescription correctly? Does it, where does it begin? Where does it end? And really the question becomes, where can we add more value to the equation? Now, within the whole ecosystem of pharmacy, are there issues? Absolutely. I'm not going to turn a blind eye and say that there's no issues with PBMs. I'm sure there's issues with PBMs. Are they as significant as what some people say? Yes. In some cases, maybe a little less. In many cases, maybe it's a little more. I don't have the right vantage point for that, but I do know there's issues there, and I know that based on what you're paid, if 60% of the prescriptions you're paid for, you're losing money on, there's something there around the value that's being provided. And that's something that we at least need to consider. The world of pharmacy also faces issues with supply chain and formularies and prior authorizations and workforce. And you know the details. We don't need to belabor that. But what I would take and put right next to this idea of money is created when somebody does something else of value for someone else, is this, and it's that everyone on planet Earth is paid for the same reason. Everyone on planet Earth is paid for the same reason, and that reason is to solve a problem. Okay, so the same reason that the kid running the fryolator at the burger joint nearby is paid is the same reason that the physician is paid, is the same reason that the pharmacist is paid, is the same reason that the builder is paid, is the same reason that the athlete is paid, right? They're all paid to solve a problem. Now, those problems are different, right? In some instances, it's the need for food or clothing or shelter or health. In some cases, it's entertainment, right? But these are all problems, at least that people perceive, right? So with all these pharmacies that have been closing, and all the ones that are rumored to be closing, all the ones that are rumored to be on the selling block, that creates a very uneasy it creates a very uneasy environment. And the first thing that I look at, it took me about 17 years of my career to really lock in on this, and I've spent the better part of the past decade going down this path, and it's the need for leadership, good leadership within the profession. There are many people in leadership roles, but there are also in leadership roles without any type of formal or consistent leadership. Um, and I have two thoughts I want to share with you on this. And the first one is a thought that my mentor shared with me some time ago. And when he shared this with me, I, I struggled with it. I struggled with it because I thought, I don't know that this can possibly be true. But he said to me, a gentleman's name is Mark Cole, and he said, Jess, everyone deserves to be led well. Everyone deserves to be led well. And I've talked about this in other presentations before. If you've heard me speak or heard me on a podcast, maybe you've heard me tell a little bit of this story before, but I'll tell it here again just because I think the context is right to share it. And everyone deserves to be led well. And at first, I was like, can that possibly be true? Because that sounds really big. That sounds really daunting. That sounds like a monumental task right? Within the world of healthcare, pharmacists, we need to lead our teams well. We need to lead the patients that we serve well, right? And there's a lot, right? There's a lot of people on the team. There's a lot of people that are just peripheral to the team, right? You start getting into your supply chain and your contacts and your collaborators. Like all those people deserve to be led well. Now, you may say, well, maybe they should be led well, but this deserve thing, that's a different layer. And I struggled with that. And what I had to do is I had to sit down with a blank piece of paper and I had to say, okay, well, if you're going to struggle with the idea that everyone deserves to be led well, why don't you just make a list of the people who don't deserve to be led well? Who are the people that I can put on this list that deserve to be led poorly? And I sat there and I couldn't come up with anybody. I sat there for some time. Like I was thinking of people I didn't like. I thought, what about this group? What about that group? And no, I grudgingly had to come to the conclusion that everyone does indeed deserve to be led well. So with that, that's the first thought. Now, the second thought is this, and it's that everyone wants to be led well. Everyone wants to be led well. And I think about that within the context of my colleagues in the community space that are facing store closures, that are facing the sale of their pharmacy, whatever that scenario turns out to be. You know what they want? They want to be led well. And right now, the conversations that I'm having is that they're essentially not being led. What are you hearing? I'm not hearing anything. They're seeing things, but they're not hearing things. And as such, it leads to this challenge. And this is very much a leadership gap that exists. And this is not unique to pharmacy. This is everywhere, right? I wish it was just limited to one segment of the world, but this is an issue everywhere. Everyone wants to be led well. And within the pharmacy, I would give this as, a very simple example. If you've ever had anybody ask you for a recommendation, right? Hey, what should I take for my cold or my allergy or my, my upset stomach or my sore back or whatever it turns out to be, right? We have people that come to us and they are looking to be led well. They're looking to be led from where they are, which is some place of discomfort, to a better place, right? And when we do that, you know what we're doing? We're solving a problem and we're creating value. That's what happens. And it's the same across all sorts of industries. It's not just when people come in looking for a recommendation. This happens. This happens at the restaurant. If you've ever asked the server what the best thing on the menu is, it happens if you've ever bought anything online and you've looked at a product review. What is at the heart of that is that you are looking to be led well. You want to be led to a good product. You want to be led to a good experience. You want to be led to whatever that fill in the blank is, right? That's the problem you're attempting to solve in that environment. So I see this huge leadership gap out there. And this brings us to a decision point. It brings us to a very important decision point, and it's what are you going to do, right? What are you going to do about it? And this is what scares me. And in talking with colleagues, there's a lot of them that are saying, "I'm going to wait and see. I gotta wait." And this led me to something that I was just learning in the last couple of weeks. I'm not going to be able to tell you the exact name of the condition, but it's really the life of a turkey, right? Life of a turkey is pretty good, right? Like the turkey gets up, eats all at once, is doing all these things, and all it takes for a turkey is one bad day to end up on the table for Thanksgiving dinner. Right? It's that the turkey is all it had to do was wait around, wait around. Everything was really, really good till all of a sudden it wasn't, and it was over. And I share that because I think we have some people who are thinking like turkeys. So we can wait or we can chart our own course. We can do something about it. And this is very much an invitation for you to reflect on what your personal philosophies are. Now, the first time that I was asked about my philosophies, I didn't know. And in all honesty, during my time in college, philosophy sounded like too difficult of a course for me to take, so I avoided it. I just sort of, you know, bucketed that in some place that it was sort of nonsense. I didn't really need to spend a whole lot of time with that, but nothing could be further from the truth. You have a personal philosophy, whether you realize it or not. The question is, what is it? And the way my mentor explained this to me, he said, Jess, your personal philosophy is how you set your sail. Now let me hit pause here and go back. I'm a farm kid. I'm not I'm not a sailboat type guy, right? You know that didn't mean a whole lot to me. But it was in, I believe it was 2015, 2016. I found myself in Toronto, and I was up there for a pharmacy conference, and it was actually over my wedding anniversary. My wife went with me to this conference, and we were able to have dinner at the CN Tower. Now, if you've never been to Toronto, the CN Tower is kind of like the Space Needle in Seattle, just however high up it was, and then at the top there's this restaurant that rotates 360 degrees. So over the course of an hour, you get a full view of the city, but you also get a view of Lake Ontario. And what was interesting is as we sat there at the table, I'm looking out the window at Lake Ontario and I see two sailboats, but they're going in completely opposite directions. Now, what's interesting about this is that the sailboats are essentially in the same water, right? Water's the same temperature, winds blow in the same way. The environment is the same for both of them, yet based on their personal philosophies, based on how they set their sail, one goes this way while the other goes this way. And that was so impactful for me because it helped me understand that no matter what the environment may be, you can adjust your sail, you can adjust your personal philosophy in such a way that you can change the direction of how things are going, right? There's there's a lot of folks who may have this personal philosophy. Um, and I don't agree with this philosophy, but I see if this may resonate with you that maybe you know somebody that this would describe. They may think that someone else has their best interest in mind, that their boss is always looking out for them, especially looking out for them over themselves. And I don't know that that's true. I think there's a lot of bosses out there that care very much about their people, but when push comes to shove, will they side with themselves or will they side with you? Right? You know, that's something to consider. There's a lot of people who are out there telling you what you need to do to be successful, that you need this, you need to have this credential, you need to have that credential, you need to go back, you need to add this line of business, that line of business. You know, at one point, and this was in the early days, so when I got to Rite Aid in 2007, someone described what we were doing as being a mile wide and an inch deep, right? That you dabble in a little bit of all these things, but you don't really go all in on any of them, and as such, you never get any better than mediocre at best at them. You do not find true excellence. I will tell you that I have been in board meetings where some of these topics have been discussed, and I will tell you that I think that the people that come up with these ideas are very well intentioned. I don't think that there's anybody in a board meeting anywhere that's saying, what can we do to make a community pharmacist life or pharmacists in general, what can we do to make their lives miserable? I haven't encountered that. Now, I'm not going to say that that hasn't happened, but at least in my experience, I have yet to find somebody who is that brazen in what they're saying. What they'll say is, hey, we think that this may be a solution. What do you think? Is this something that our pharmacists can do? And typically the answer is yes, because pharmacists are problem solvers. We've done all sorts of problem solving. We do it every day, right? Um, and so we find ourselves in a world where there's all sorts of solutions being promoted to us. Solutions for your to improve your sales, and those are important. You want to improve your revenue, you want to improve your profitability. Absolutely, you got to be able to sell, right? And you got to have the right things to sell. You got to have the things that people want to sell. There's all sorts of solutions out there that help you identify issues, right? That this is the problem that you have, and with what we have, it's going to allow you to solve that issue, right? These are your care gap opportunities, right? You have all those things. You will have people that will present to you just different incremental opportunities to increase your profitability just a little bit. Using this product over that product can improve your profit margin. These are all important. These are all valuable things. A lot of these solutions will tell you things that you want and that you need to hear. You need to have increase in sales. You need to be able to eliminate the issues that exist within within your the care that you provide. You need to look for those opportunities to increase your profit margin. Those are all valuable things. But what I don't see is much of the secret sauce that makes this all work. You see, I've seen many programs roll out, and they roll out to a thud, right? They don't roll out to thunderous applause. They roll out to a thud. And what I have learned, and again, it took me about 17 years to figure this out, is what was missing was leadership. And it's not, leadership is not something that's reserved for a special title. It is not reserved for when you get promoted. It's not reserved only for people within the higher ups of a corporate office. That is not that's not the type of leadership I'm talking about. I'm wanting to say it was Simon Sinek gave this definition. He said, to be a leader, all you have to do is care about the person to your right or to your left. And I like that definition. And I think that's a very generous definition for us to consider, because I know you care. I know you care about the people that you work with. I know you care about the people that you work for. I know you care about the people that work for you, and I know that you care about the people that you provide care to. I know that you have that, but there's a lot of folks that because they have not developed this skill set, they struggle to solve problems. They struggle to add value. And as such, the value that provided is at a very low level. Now, don't be offended by that language. That's very general language. But I want you just to at least consider, what would it look like if more value was provided in some situation? What would that look like? What would that look like? And let me see if I can choose my words poorly here. Um, it was shared with me that everything rises and falls on leadership. And if you think about that, as I'm recording this, there's it's where are we? We're the 1st of May as I'm recording this. So the NFL draft just happened, and you have all sorts of professional football teams that are sky high or super low based on what happened in the draft. They have all sorts of people that have all sorts of opinions. The basketball playoffs are happening and teams are being eliminated. And the reality is that everything rises and falls on leadership. And I point to the sports world because you will see teams rise and you will see teams fall, and it's based on the leadership. It's based on the players they bring in. It's based on how they use the players that they have. And it's a nice little petri dish. It's a nice little laboratory to be able to look at some of those things. But in the world of pharmacy, what I see is that there's an awful lot of falling right now. I see an awful lot. I see an awful lot of falling. If everything rises and falls on leadership, then we need to just understand that our leadership is so key. So what's the solution? Well, the solution is to improve our leadership, and as we improve our leadership, you know what's going to happen? Our teams are going to perform better. We're going to solve more problems for our customers. And as we do this, this goes back to, some of the things we talked about earlier on. It's that everybody on planet Earth is paid for the exact same reason, and that's to solve a problem. So if we can become more effective at solving problems, that's to our benefit, right? I spent a portion of my career in the adherence space. I was working with medication adherence. I thought it was a wonderful thing, and I would tell you that based on my traditional education, that I thought the solution was information. I thought the solution was information. I thought that if we could just give people enough information, then they would miraculously do everything the right way. And that's not true. You can bury people in information. You can absolutely bury them in information, and you can get them to a point where they are paralyzed and they don't know what to do, right? You just keep dumping things on them, and they get to the point where they have so much to hold, they can't even lift their arms up. And so one of the things that we have to understand is that through our leadership, we need to help people cut through to get the results that they want, right? And the result that they want is to have their problem solved. Now, whether you consider yourself a leader or not, doesn't matter. The reality is you are a leader, right? The language that I use to describe a leader is this, and it's that a leader is anyone who helps someone at some time get somewhere or do something. And I'm going to say that again. A leader is anyone who helps someone at some time get somewhere or do something. And by that definition, we're all leaders. By that definition, and I use this as a bit of an extreme example, by that definition, even newborns are leaders, right? A newborn child leads their new parents to become competent parents. That's not where they were. Their goal, the problem that they have is that they're not a competent parent. Or maybe I'm just telling stories on myself. Whenever my kids came along, I was not competent. But what those kids did is they forced me to, well, they forced me. They led me to become competent, right? That's what they did. And I thought that was such a tremendous example, and it applies for all of us, right? Everybody deserves to be led well. Everyone wants to be led well. Yet there's a lot of folks that don't know how to lead well. And I want you to know this is what changed my life about 10 years ago, 2014. What changed my life was learning that good leadership can be learned. And that was encouraging in days that were often frustrating, that were often uncertain. The times were perhaps not too dissimilar to what they are today. And I'll go back. What are you going to do? What's the decision that you're going to make? Are you going to wait? Are you going to just assume that somebody else is going to make good decisions for you? Or is there something that you could do to better prepare yourself? To better prepare yourself to make yourself more valuable to the marketplace? Is there something that you could do in that regard? Is there something that you could do? And I think the answer is yes. I think the answer is that you can give yourself permission to improve your leadership skills. And it's a sprint, and it's also a marathon, right? There's when you start to learn good leadership, you start to see the returns almost immediately. right? You'll when you start to do things, you're gonna feel a shift. You're gonna see a shift in the energy. You're gonna feel that shift all around you, that good leadership brings. Now you may already be a decent leader, but open yourself to the idea that what if you could be even a little bit better of a leader than what you are today? What type of benefit would that bring to yourself and to everybody around you? Right? That's where we are. So I go back to it. You have to give yourself permission. Don't don't wait for somebody else to say, "Oh, it's okay to go do that." Don't wait for somebody to say, "Oh, I think this is what we need to do, and we need to roll it out." Um, it may be well intended, but who knows on how that gets to you or when that gets to you. I think there's just tremendous opportunities for you, right? When you give yourself permission to improve your leadership skills. Now, I've given you that whole background, and I don't know if I can even tell. I've probably gone a lot longer on this than what I had originally anticipated on going. But I wanted to say this. Uh, my heart is for community pharmacy, pharmacists in general, but specifically for community pharmacy, because that's the place where that's that's my stomping grounds, right? I feel for my colleagues out there, my brothers and sisters in the white coats that are out there providing care every day, right? Out there that are they're out there looking to solve problems. And they want to do that effectively. They want to do that efficiently. And what would life be like if you could do it more effective? If you could be more efficient? If you could be having a greater impact on those people around you? So to that end, I wanted to offer you an invitation. Uh, my career pathway has taken me to the point where I have gone all in on improving my leadership skills so that I can help others improve their leadership skills. Um, in 2017, I joined the John Maxwell team. If you're not familiar with John, I invite you to open your Amazon app and just type in that name into the search bar, and you'll see that he's just written dozens upon dozens upon dozens of books on leadership. And what I've done is by joining that team, I've licensed a great portion of his content to be able to take that out and then apply it in different areas. And the area where I see it applied or where it needs to be applied is in pharmacy. That's that's and I'm sure that somebody that has a background in you name it, fill in the blank on whatever background you want to use, auto sales, um, hotel management, you name it, all those folks that I'm sure they would see the opportunity to apply those materials. But what I see the opportunity to invest in pharmacists to help them improve those skills so they can have a greater impact on those people around them. And so the invitation that I want to give is the opportunity for you to improve your leadership skills. And I target this specifically to my colleagues that are on the front lines of pharmacy, right? Those that are out there, especially those of you who may be concerned that your pharmacy will be closed or sold or wherever you find yourself and your future is uncertain. I will tell you that your future will become more certain when you possess these skills, no matter where your future takes you. And so, to that end, you're invited. You're invited to come through a series of leadership teachings. There's no cost to you. I just want to get you want to take some time and want to equip you with some principles, with some thoughts, with some actionable ideas that you can apply today that will have a benefit on yourself, on the people around you, on the people that you serve, on the organization that you work for. Who knows? Maybe you even see the opportunity to do something for yourself. I know that's what I saw. I saw the opportunity to do something for myself. So what we'll do is we'll get a link down in the comment section here where I would just ask that you sign up. If you have any interest, sign up. We'll get you we'll get you material as the opportunity becomes available. The idea of presenting to you in this way is that you have a little understanding of what my what my presentation style is like. If you've made it this long, you've probably said, "Well, I can probably tolerate this guy." If you dumped off a long time ago, that's not for you, and that's fine. It would not change the fact that would still encourage you to develop your leadership skills. Find a voice that resonates with you to improve those skills. If my voice resonates with you, if my style resonates with you, great. If it doesn't, there's somebody else out there. If you say that, hey, I want to do it, but your style doesn't match mine, I'll point you in the direction of other people. We'll find something. It's too important for you to not possess these skills that can so dramatically impact the future for yourself, your family, your coworkers, the patients that you serve. So I'm going to stop there, but I thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time. I thank you so much. I thank you for your service uh, to your communities. I thank you for your service to humankind and the things that you do. You are so incredibly valuable. And I would welcome the opportunity to add value to you in this way. So, with that, I'll let you get back after things today. Thank you so much, everybody.